To council meeting this evening. All council members are present. Placid. Where'd she go? Outside, okay. They were all present just a second ago, but they're in the building. We'd like to ask Eric Jensen to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance, after which we'll ask Lynn Walker to offer the opening remarks.
The audience, please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, as we gather tonight in this city council meeting, we're grateful for our many blessings. Father, we are especially grateful for one another and for ideas and thoughts, and that we may ever move forward in this city that may be a better place for all of us to dwell. We ask thee, Father, tonight if thou wilt be with us as we make decisions and help us that we make good decisions. We ask that we can be civil in how we handle things and dedicate this meeting to thee in the name of Jesus.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, please note item 11A is being continued indefinitely, and if you can include that in your motion. Are there any other changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we approve tonight's agenda with item 11A being removed.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do you want to amend the motion to continue that indefinitely?
And we will continue the item indefinitely.
Lynn? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Is Daniel here? Where's Daniel?
He's in the
Oh,
back.
there you are. Of course you're over there. Daniel, you want to come over and step up? The council has interviewed the final applicants for the Community Development Director position, and at this time I present Daniel Cardenas as the Development Director, Community Development Director. So I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'll make
Council.
the motion that we appoint Daniel Cardenas as our Community Development Director here in Pleasant Grove.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ben and a second by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Daniel, do you want to say a few words?
Mayor, Council, I cannot really express with words how humble and grateful I am for the opportunity given to me. If it's okay with you, the Council and the Mayor, I would like to also express how grateful I am with the staff that works with me every day. They do such a terrific job, and I'm really grateful for the support and what they do every single day. Thank you so much. The only way, if there is one, that I can repay the trust invested in me is by measure up to the expectations and working hard. So that's what I will do. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. You want to introduce your family?
Sure.
Bring
Better
him up.
half?
Bring him up.
Come on up if you want to stand.
Is that his camera?
This is my. Oh, sorry.
It's your wife, I believe.
This is my wife, but more than that, she's the biggest support I ever had in my life. So this is my wife, Kimberly. My oldest daughter, Daniela. She's 9 years old. This is Jesse right here. And Gavin, who's sleeping, is 4 years old. And right there is my dad that came for this occasion. He came for a couple of days from Mexico. He didn't
Excellent.
believe me, so I told him, if you gotta
It's true.
every time he asked me, what do I do? And I tried to explain to him what do I do. He always asks me the same question. He says, do you do it in Spanish or in English? Because I don't know how you can do it. So yeah, that's my dad. He came from Mexico.
Well,
My
thank
wife
you
and
very
my-
much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Daniel.
Okay, item 7 is our consent agenda.
Mayor,
Anything? Yes.
I think we skipped the open session.
Did we?
Yeah, do you want
We did?
to kick back to that?
I wonder why we did that. How unfortunate.
And that's 3 minutes and then okay.
All right. Our next item is an open session. If any of you have something that you'd like to speak about that's on the agenda but not a public hearing, or something that's not on the agenda, feel free to come up right now and state your name.
Mayor, can I chime in really quick? It's something for open session. I don't know where else to put it, but if we could have Art Maxwell come to the podium here. He's going to take a position that you had 21 years ago with the Discovery Park. He has thrown his hat into the ring to help us with the Jimmer Fredette and Rediscover Discovery Park Foundation, Choosing Kindness in Pleasant Grove. And so I'm very grateful he's done something else special in our neck of the woods here, and I'll let him just take a few moments. So this is on the spot. I just put him on the spot. So
tell us about what happened this last week.
So basically, I'm running off of very few hours of sleep, so I'll try not to get emotional. We'll go 2 for 2 tonight, right? Obviously, this last week, most of the community saw we put a giant flag in the canyon, worked with Kyle Fox and Ron Nix and the Follow the Flag organization to make that happen. Many people in this community were a part of that, a number of which I can point to in this room, and pretty amazing week, and we saw some pretty cool things happen, and was approached to take a look at the park, and there was need for a coordinator and trying to make, revamp that park and make it something that we can be proud of. I think it was in the day. My story there would be, I was a senior in high school when that park was built. That'll show my age right there. And I remember going to the park on a school bus with my classmates, and we went down and we worked for an hour during gym, and then went back. And honestly, it was probably the most work I'd done in gym. It was awesome. We hammered nails and we put things together, and we felt proud as a community. And I remember those days really, really well. So when somebody approached me with maybe helping and throwing a name into the ring for this one, it was a no-brainer. And hopefully I have a lot to learn, and I think we have an amazing committee and the ability to put some pretty cool things together for this park. So
Awesome. I love how you say that you just hung a flag in the canyon like it's no big deal. It was just,
We hung a really big flag in the canyon.
Record-breaking flag, right?
And hundreds of hours. So thank you so much for being willing to take on this project. See, this is what happens when you do something good like that.
Yeah.
Then you get nominated to another thing good. So thank you.
Happy to be a part.
Art, thank you, really. And this is the man you probably want to touch base with for a little bit.
Just,
He has quite a bit of knowledge, so yeah.
oh yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else for the open session? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the open session, bring it back up here. Now we move on to item 7, the consent items. Any discussion? Okay, if not, I'll call for a motion.
Mayor, make a motion to approve the consent items tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Eric and a second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And now we will consider for approval the appointment of Doug and Lisa Thompson as Beautification Committee members. Do you want to stand, please? Great. You want to say anything? Okay. You. Okay.
So I'll say something. So he's in a band. Is still Funeral Potatoes. Is that right? Amazing. It's like this folksy. I don't even know how to explain. It's awesome. They play for the Heritage Days. They played for a concert in the park, and it's amazing. So thank you. I mean, forget Beautification Committee. I just want to hear you guys play music because it's awesome. So thank you for your service in the community.
Years and years and years of service, by the way, not just by playing music.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion for the appointment of Doug and Lisa Thompson as beautification committee members.
Second.
We have a motion by Eric and a second by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, thank you. At this time, we invite Rob Smith from the Alpine School District to give us an update. Okay.
Mayor Daniels, members of the council, city staff, and members of the Pleasant Grove community. I'm Rob Smith, Assistant Superintendent for Alpine, and I believe the finest school district in the state of Utah. And we're doing something a little different. And the board's asked me to do a few things different. And one of those is to come to you and give a report each year. And then to open up and take feedback from you on things that we can work together on to continue the great relationship we've had with Pleasant Grove. We've done some amazing things together. So tonight in my report, I just wanted to highlight a few things, and all of you in the community should have received a stakeholders report. And you are our customers and our stakeholders. And the prime reason for success in Alpine School District is great students from great families and engaged and involved community members. We add that with great teachers and principals, and some amazing things happen. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of things that we're really proud about, but we're not satisfied. We can improve, we can continue to get better so that our students are better prepared as we move into the 21st century. So just wanted to highlight a couple of things, and for those of you that may not have seen one of these, again, I've got some copies up front, but a couple of things I wanted to highlight, and that is our success when it comes to outside measures. In the top right-hand side of this stakeholder report, you'll see Alpine School District as it's compared to the state of Utah in language arts, mathematics, and science. And we well exceed the state, and some of our highest performing schools are in this very community. So that's something we're always we're held accountable for, but we're very proud of the work our students, our parents, and our teachers do to bring that about. Right below that, you'll see some recognition from the College Board. Alpine School District has been on the honor roll for our advanced placement success and our ACT success. I wanted to highlight a couple of things here. Of 5,073 AP tests taken by our students in our high schools, 3,768 tests were passed, and over 11,000 college credits were earned. And when you think about that from a parent perspective or a student perspective, the value of that for college tuition and books and so forth is in the millions and millions of dollars. That's being done right here at Pleasant Grove High School and other schools throughout Alpine School District. It's pretty exciting. A couple of things that we've been focused on. One is reading at third grade at grade level. One of the greatest predictors for success in school and in life is reading on grade level at third grade. And so one of our metrics or our measures is 90% of our students are on grade level by the time they exit third grade. And if they aren't, we have additional helps and supports for them as they continue to progress. And that's a direct prediction of whether or not they will graduate from high school. Again, if you look right in the center section, you'll see the graduation rates. Nationally, 83%. And these graduation rates have changed in how they're measured. When a student enters ninth grade, they count as a cohort. And so they measure the students that enter at ninth grade and exit as seniors. And we have to account for each one within that cohort. So of those kids that come in ninth grade and that graduate, you can see the nation is at 83%, state of Utah at 85%, Alpine School District at 91%. One of our high schools this year was at 97%. And the only school higher than that was the UCAS, the charter school that is the college prep class that Alpine, Nebo, and Provo District created. Sits down at Utah Valley University there on campus. And that was higher, and I think there was one other school that was higher. all of the, yes. And so Niels, yes. And it's quite remarkable when you look at our special needs kids, and I have a daughter. Hey, how are you? A daughter who is a special needs student. And when you think that she didn't graduate, she got a certificate of completion, that number is accounted for in this 91%. So there are some students that won't graduate. Those numbers count within this. And so about 3% of our students will not graduate because of some of those special needs. So doing pretty well. We're not satisfied. We can do even better. And so when you talk to your counselors or your principals, Mr. Stewart up at PG High, they're going to know the students by name and where they're at when it comes to graduation. One other thing I just wanted to hit, something I'm really proud about. Alpine School District this past year received a AAA bond rating. When I was hired, Guy Fugel was on the board, and I was told to be a bulldog and to get Alpine's finances one of the top in the state and in the nation. And that's a great achievement, and again, that's because of you. It's because of our communities, the great things that have happened, and some good conservative business practices with a solid plan supported by our board over the years. And so we're really proud of that. With that, I'm going to transition away from this document. There's lots of other stuff in here. These are just highlights. This is on our webpage. Some of you talked about sending it out on Facebook or tweeting out. You can download it out there. If you have trouble finding it or something, just shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and I'll make sure our PR people get that link for you so you can do that. I wanted now to shift to bond projects. We're really excited with what we've done at PG High School. I think it's one of the finest campuses. I saw Dave Holdaway as I came up here, one of my great colleagues. And when we envisioned a master plan of rebuilding PG High about 12, 13 years ago and started putting those things in motion, working with the city, if you'll remember, I came and asked for your help with a few things. And with Scott Darrington's help and your support and the mayor's support, I'm really pleased with how that campus has turned out. We're not done. We need to come back and finish the final phase of the rebuild of PG High, and we're looking forward to that sometime in the next several years when we come potentially out to the voters on a future bond or a capital improvement project. But a couple of ones I wanted to hit. Grovecrest. If you haven't been up to Grovecrest, I'm super excited. I know Niels has been there. The teachers, I went and asked them. We have carpet in the hallways, and this is kind of different for our elementary schools. And we wondered whether or not, because we took that out because of maintenance and cleaning and spills and all the things that happen, I asked the teachers, I said, what do you notice? And they said, it's quiet. Yeah. That was a comment from two of the teachers I talked to as I was walking through. When you think about that in the learning environment as they're working to inspire kids, I think it's a good change. We'll see how that pilot goes and whether that will be put into other schools. But Grovecrest, I drove by tonight on my way here, and it looks like the grading is just about done on the play space, and we're excited to get some green space and that in and really make the fields between PG Junior and Grovecrest just a great school asset, but a great community asset. Really excited about that project. And then finally, we got one coming up here in Pleasant Grove at Central Elementary School. So in our third phase of the bond, we will be working on Central Elementary, and we're excited about that. And so when we get further along, I'll come back to the council and keep you updated on our planning, our process, and where we're at and when that will start. And I'll bring some pictures like I did with the PG High School project and share with you so we can get your feedback and input. That is the extent of the prepared presentation. Again, just wanted to say thanks and then just open it up to you, council members, mayor, for feedback, things that I need to take back so we can continue to support you, support our families, our students in the PG community. What are some things that I can take back to work on? Usually I hear that from Scott. Scott will call me and say, hey, Rob, we got this issue. Can we work on it? We work on it and solve it. I'll get a call from maybe a council member. Hey, what about this or what about, and we solve it. The mayor, we get together usually once a year, sometimes more than that. We work together on some of those issues. But I just wanted to open it up tonight. If there's something else that you're hearing or that I need to take back to Superintendent Jarman, the board, or our team, so we can support you, what those things might be.
Council?
One question I get a fair amount, Rob. The neighborhood I'm in is the neighborhood that's shifted some of the students to Oak Canyon, and that's been kind of a new experiment. I'm curious what your thoughts are on how that's gone. And I've had people request even broader transportation support from the school district to make sure those students can get there without as much parental carpooling, that kind of thing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that issue.
Okay. Boundary shift, I think, has been positive. From the business guy's perspective, I can't speak on the educational side if that's created any issues with class loads or demand for additional teachers or whatever. I can't speak to that side of it, but I think from my perspective, it did what we hoped it would do. I have heard the transportation issue. I know that's one of the changes the board made, is I'm no longer supervising transportation, so I'll take that back to Jess Christian, who's our administrator of operations, and
Awesome.
he'll work through some of that. If there are specifics, a neighborhood that you have that wants to be looked at or something like that, if you can get that to me, Ben, then that'll give us we can laser-like look at that particular situation and then
That'd be great.
respond back to you.
Thanks.
Okay.
One stat, Rob, that I'd like to see on this flyer, which I think is awesome because it is just a quick glance of the accomplishments of Alpine School District. But I know the PTA and PTSAs keep track of their volunteer hours on a monthly basis, and I think that would be awesome to show, just a small graphic of how many volunteer hours from our parents are going into the Alpine School District school system. And then I would love to partner with the school district on an indoor pool, getting a bubble for an indoor pool, because I know that we have a lot of students transport over to American Fork. And there's only a couple of Lehigh and I think American Fork, but they're becoming very crowded for students. And love to see if there's a partnership we can form on a bubble for an indoor pool. That's a wish list item, but while you're here, I thought take the time and get your ear on that. And then also parking at the high school by the rec center is hard during the school year for patrons of the rec center. And I'm sure for even some students as well, as we're trying to work on that shared parking arrangement between our residents who use the rec center and then the high school students who utilize that south end of the parking lot there. So if it's great right now, but then come fall, and then it's even worse in the spring, because all the high school students are going to get their license. So,
It's the sophomore
we're blaming them.
expansion. Yeah.
But those are just a couple. But I mean, it's just I grew up in the Alpine School District. My husband did too. We have our 3 boys going there, and I've had nothing but an amazing experience, both personally and having my children attend there. So I'm involved with the PTA every school. I feel strongly about parental involvement and everything that this district does for our community. And so I appreciate it both as a council member, but as a resident as well. And anything I can do to help you, I would love to, because education is very, very important to me, and supporting our local schools is very, very important to me. But those are just a few things that have come, like I said, a wish list for one of those. But we have partnered with you on some amazing projects, and Battle Creek Park is one. And so thank you for the courts and the pavilion and just a beautiful area. It really transformed that park. And so anything else we can partner with you on that would benefit both the school district, our students, and the community, I'd be happy to work on with you.
Thank you. I noted all 3 of those. I'll work back with Scott. The parking, something it's been an issue. We've resolved it. Always in the springtime. It's the sophomore expansion. But we'll go back and look at, just like we did for Battle Creek Park, maybe we look at designating some stalls so that the community has access. There's some things that we can take back and work together with you on, for sure. So thank you.
My only question is, any more details on Central? Was there a timeline that you're thinking of in your head, or that you would like to divulge at this time?
That is
or
a
not.
great question. I can tell you from the financing side, everything's going to be in place. We're going to be good to go. On the programming side and what it's going to look like, that we're still a year out from that. And so I know our operations team, our physical facilities team will do that, gather that input. They'll bring those renderings back to the board for consideration. They'll get feedback from the school folks.
Okay.
But at this point, it's a little too early. I just know that we'll likely keep the 12 classrooms that we added on that north. That will stay, so we don't lose that investment that's already been made. When Dave was working with me on that, we tried to add on to buildings in a way that we wouldn't lose those funds, so your money wouldn't be wasted. And so I think that will be kept. Then we'll build either on the north side, as we acquired that property from the church to do that, and then keep the school in session, and then tear down, and then look at playground space and that on the south. If you were to ask me what I think might happen, that's
could be a
probably a possibility that will be in the mix. We'll have more information on that in about a year from now, 10 months or so from now.
Okay.
Okay, does
Thank
that help?
you. Yes.
Okay.
Anyone else? Rob, we're just really thrilled with the cooperation that we have with Alpine School District, not just with education, but also on the business front. Many things that we've accomplished together here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just, in closing, I passed out to the council a pin. And if you look at that pin, it has the Alpine, our mountains, which is a hallmark. You see the G on the mountain, the great reminder that we need to continue to climb and do great things. And you'll see there the wording says Spirit of Excellence. Alpine School District is excellent, and our pursuit is excellence, but it is because of great men and women like you that are willing to put your name out there, run for office, get engaged on hard issues, and try to do good for the community. And so we wanted to present that on behalf of Superintendent Jarman, the board, again, our team, the Spirit of Excellence for you, because you are a big part of the excellence that we enjoy as an organization. It's because of Pleasant Grove City, Pleasant Grove community. And so just wanted to say thanks. That's why you got the pin.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay?
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll now have a discussion and direction from the council regarding our public safety facilities, and our owners committee is going to present. Scott, are you going to introduce? Okay.
We have an owners committee that has been working on the design of the new public safety facilities for the past few months. The owners committee is made up of some city staff, our chiefs, myself, Marty Beaumont with Public Works. We've recently added Daniel Cardenas to that committee as well, as we're starting to get into the land use part of that and making sure we're meeting all of our own requirements for developing the property. We also have two citizen representatives, Guy Fugel and Dave Holdaway, which help assist us in the decision making for the owners committee. We're going to have Jim Child, our architect, is going to get up, and he's going to show us some floor plans and just really where the latest, where we're at as far as the committee is concerned. Big D, I don't think was able to get a representative here tonight. They had people go in different ways, but Jim's going to be handling most of it anyway. I do want to just discuss budget real quick. We are, as we continue to get a little bit closer on the building, we're able to hone in our budget a little better. We are pretty close to balancing. We still have a little ways to go. We do have some donors that are in talks still with the mayor about their participation. Already the donor participation has been, in my opinion, just overwhelming at the community support and the amount of money that has been committed to this project. Right now that number stands at about $1.9 million, with a few other donors that have expressed an interest in donating, but we have not talked with them about a number just yet. Without that donor money, we would not be able to do the buildings that you're about to see. As we talk as an owners committee and as we are settling in on these floor plans, the important part has at this point is not to give up any square footage. There are certain aspects of this building that are ancillary to the building, that are on the outside, or things that we can change to, if we need to reduce cost, that would not eliminate square footage. So that has been our primary focus, and we've been very successful so far of being able to put something together that we think is going to work, not only for the next 10 years, but hopefully for a long time into the future. We're really trying to, by maximizing the square footage, then that just means we hopefully won't need to do an addition later or anything like that to accommodate our growth needs. We are meeting on Thursday. We will be getting a little more specific on our budget on Thursday, and as soon as our owners committee gets a little bit closer on that, then we'll bring that back to the council for presentation so you can see the more detailed numbers and see exactly where we're at. So whether that's going to be next council meeting or maybe our first meeting in August, we will get those numbers in front of you. We're still, as a committee, working through a couple of those. So with that, is there any questions on any of that? I will turn it over to Jim Child.
Thank you, Scott. Oops. Thank you, Scott. And I do want to echo what Scott was saying, though, about our owners committee, both your city staff and Guy and Dave. They've been fantastic to work with as we've been working through some of the points on this. And this is meant to be an update. As you know, this is a design in process at this point. These are not final, I guess you would say, but we do want to show you where we are at this point and what we've been doing. Why don't you go ahead and bring up the floor plan here, Chris? Maybe enlarge that a little bit. We won't go in detail room by room through this, but this is the preliminary main floor plan of the Justice facility. If you'll recall from some of our past presentations, we have broken this into two separate buildings. The fire station and the Justice facility are in two separate buildings here, both for site reasons, functionality reasons, and organizational security reasons. The building that you see at the top there, and we'll look at this more in some of the renderings on the site plan and those kinds of things, but at the top of that is a main entrance into the building. And that comes into a common lobby area, which we have tried to create. That lobby will be your lobby during the day. Oh, that pointer there. Yeah, we'll go ahead and use that. That common lobby into this common lobby area here. And that lobby is available during the day and will work with the access to the courts clerks area, access to the police clerk area, and then also access into what we've created here is both a multi-purpose courtroom, council room, and community space. And through a series of folding doors, this can be reduced or enlarged into several individual spaces or into one large space, and giving you maximum flexibility. What we've tried to also do then is allow that in the evenings or on weekends, when this facility would be in use for council meetings such as this, other types of functions, this lobby can remain accessible to the public with access to the restrooms, with very easy lock off of the police and courts areas. So you can use this as a public allowing maximum use of this for the public. Like I say, without going into too much detail on the building, you just say this end of the building is primarily court. This end of the building and around through this area here is primarily police, and going upstairs you'll find police. The patrol functions and evidence, those kinds of functions that are needing a little more convenience and direct access to the outside, that is all on the first floor. You'll see it comes around the back. We've got areas of large evidence areas. We've got the patrol function areas here where they will work, some patrol briefing areas. All of these things, though, are very much secured from the council areas, that multipurpose space. But we've looked at this is a sally port and what we refer to as a detainee area, where they might bring in, if you've got either the police are going to be using this for someone they're bringing in for questioning. It's a secure area in here. It's also where you would house and stage detained people that are being brought here for court. So they no longer need to be brought in through the front lobby with everybody else like you've got in your current situation. They can be held until the court is ready for them here in spaces and brought directly into the courtroom right here through a set of secured doors. So all of those kinds of functions are really what we're trying to create here. Now this facility opens to this area in the back, and we'll show you this on the site plans. What we're trying to create is what will be a segregated and hopefully at some point secured parking area for the police staff, court staff, and fire staff that would be between these buildings. But maybe quickly, do we have the second floor plan there? I'll just show you quickly as we go upstairs. With the administration for the police are up in this area. We have the investigations divisions up in this area. We also have the dispatch up in this area that the city operates. And so there's access for the staff coming up the back, but also as public comes into this to meet with the administration or for interaction with the investigations, they can come up through this central stairway here that's controlled through the court or through the police clerks. It also accommodates segregating the different areas of the police facility, unlike some of the problems that have been identified in the existing facility, where if you bring somebody in, they have access to the whole police department. This allows them to keep people segregated from some of the other areas of the department. So let's jump over to the fire station real quick, and then we'll. This is the south part of the site that you'll see with the obvious apparatus bays here. We've created this lobby space that you come into here, where they'll also be able to display some of the historic equipment that's currently in the basement here. So we can bring that up and create easy access in and out, where those can be pulled right into the space and parked there and displayed and taken out for various activities and events. We deal with the administration for the fire department is on this first floor. In this area, you also have these stairways and the must-have fire pole that comes down from the second level of the dormitory areas. Well, they're not dormitories anymore, but sleeping areas. Storage for what they refer to as the turnouts. Storage for some of these various pieces of equipment there. We jump upstairs, and this is a really fast overview. I will tell you that your chiefs and your owners committee have been going through this in much greater detail, and we go back and forth constantly during the week with ideas and comments in between our meetings. Upstairs, as you come up through this, the rooms are set up as we do with all of our fire facilities now, where they're individual sleeping rooms. Now they're manned. You'll have multiple shifts using those rooms, but they're only a single user rooms during any one shift. And then centered in this is that common day room where the kitchen and eating area is, and some meeting area, with an access coming out to a patio area on the second level that looks out over the park, actually, where they can locate a barbecue and have some outdoor access during their shift. So, as I say, before I jump to the kind of the overall site and some of the design issues that we're headed towards, are there any questions that have come up on the plans as we did this lightning overview? Is that
John, this looks awesome. This looks good. Thank you. Yeah. Jim, sorry.
One quick question I have.
Yes.
One of my assignments this year is with the Historic Preservation Commission. We've been talking about a memorial wall or some kind of a display, and I think
the first floor is that, or there, Chris. Okay.
I think there's been conversation with the owners committee about having it here in the fire station, but I think the commission may have interest in having it in the lobby of the police station, where there's more foot traffic and more frequent visitors. Have you had any conversations with that commission?
We've been talking that back and forth through with the committee, and that's what we're discussing right now. Is, as I say, this right now we're looking at space in here for the historic fire truck and some of the equipment, and we've tried to set this up so there is this wall across here that has the option of a display wall or maybe some of that. We also have some opportunities in the main lobby of the Justice Center that can also happen on some of these other areas of some of these walls in this Justice Center. And so I'd say that everybody's focused on that. I don't know that a final decision's been made on that. I don't know.
Yeah, we sent the floor plans to the architect that they have on the committee, and they were going to get together and talk about
make some suggestions as to what how
would
extensive
be.
Or what they were looking to do, and
ultimately, once we get the suggestions, we'll have to put a price tag on it, make sure it fits within the budget, and see what's possible. So we're still working through that.
Perfect. Thank you.
So keeping in mind these two plans, maybe Chris, if you'll go ahead and let's go ahead and this is a little updated aerial view. I know some of you may have seen it at some previous presentation, but this one is updated with some new, a little more detail on the buildings, and then we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I'll let you go ahead and just run that video view of it there if you can. But let's go ahead and let you can kind of get a feel now. We do show the secure fencing, which as I say, we're trying to put in with the gates and things like that, but you'll see the space between the buildings there that's used for secure access and such. Maintaining the access for the fire department. And then this west access is an option right now we're trying to look at for returning fire trucks and as an emergency access out of that area. Oh yes, if we can keep it in the budget, the thing that we have, let's see, maybe as we go to you can kind of see a hint of them right in here. What we have designed with this right now is a replacement for your park restrooms. It's added on there. It's an item that's we're trying to keep in the budget right now, but it's yeah.
I mean, as we talk about the budget, there are 3 items that well, there's actually 4 or 5 items, but we have this access right here. That if the money's in the budget, that's something we'll put in. That will be a secondary access for the fire trucks to come in on a right turn and a right turn to come in, as opposed to coming in maybe on a left turn and gumming up traffic here on First East to come in. So that's an item that will be in essence an alternate bid item. We have the restroom facility, which would replace our old one at the park. So this will be accessible from the outside, but it will not be accessible from the inside. So it can be added if the money's there. If it's not there, then that will be one of those items that we will just have to stay with our old restrooms for now. And then the parking here will be put in, and then the question is, can we secure it with a fence? That will be another alternate item. And then the final 2 alternate items would be, if we're really in a budget crunch, would be giving up a bay for the fire department. So those are the items that are all being considered and discussed right now with the owners committee, and part of that's going to depend on if there's some more donor funds that come in that could help preserve that. Initially we talked about 2 bays. I don't see us going down to 4. I really hope. I think we can keep 5 intact. It's whether we can keep number 6. We'll have those discussions again. So that's a little bit in motion as far as those things are concerned, but those are the budget items that are being considered.
We have also, just to let you know, we're now working with your planning director here and your planning staff to, as we've worked through this, to try to make sure that we're meeting the spirit and intent of your downtown ordinances that you've put in. You've seen some hints of that on the exterior as we've shown you that. I don't know, Chris, maybe if you want to pull up a few of those, some of the things that we're trying to do, as you'll see here, is in keeping with materials such as masonry materials throughout. Some of the elements that you'll see if you drive through your Main Street area there, if you look on the different buildings, some of the pilastering, some of the windows themes have actually come from looking back at some of the high school and the original buildings that were on the site. Some of the detailing that you see in the pilasters, the wainscoting, the wainscot, the lower coming around the building, the different materials. Those are all things that we're, as I say, trying to key off of the spirit of your downtown ordinance and be in keeping with that. This is a fairly large building. It's larger than most of the buildings that you've got, around that area. And so we try to do these things to kind of keep the scale down, keep some detail there, and keep it so that it's in the direction that you've expressed with your ordinance. So these are all, let me mention one other thing. This is, as I say, this is an evolving process. This has kind of come out of discussions with, this is the point we're at with it. Colors are really the next thing, some of the next things, kind of the colors and some of the final materials, and it's the intent, I think, of the committee is that we'll try to zero in on recommendations, and then those will come back to you as a council for some final renderings and final looks on that. So,
can you flip back to your site plan?
Sure. I hope so.
With the Google Earth around it, the Google Map. Yeah. So on the west side of the building here, we see the alternate access point. We show a lot of area here that's in green with the sidewalk. Is it intended for this to be redone, or would it remain as it is currently?
As we've worked with Big D on this, it's felt that that certain amount of that area, now it could be adjusted a little bit, particularly on that northern half of the park, minimized, but there's going to be some impact into the park. What I mean is just the normal construction activities of building there. You know, they can't build, they're going to be, you know, going 20, 30 feet beyond the building with their activities. And so that will destroy some of that edge of the park.
Sure.
So in the budgets for this, we have obviously some we've put in some re-landscaping. Now the question is to work now with the city and decide, is there anything special that needs to happen with that? Has it got to be put in a certain way? Do we want trees in certain locations? Do we want, you know, is there anything else we want to do? But that's we felt like that we needed to put some dollars into the budget to kind of restore, I guess you would say, or redevelop that part of the park, because we feel like it will be impacted by the construction.
Is it in the vision to restore it to what some of the current uses are in those particular areas?
Are you talking about your playground area or your horse, or the?
There's a playground here.
Pits?
There's a horseshoe pit here
Right.
that I'm become aware of recently, was put in quite a while ago. Those are the two elements that I'm thinking of. The stage here, the pavilion, that was put in by the Lions, and
right. And I think we're trying to stay east of that. We're trying to stay east of that.
Yeah, using the Google Earth and laying this on there, it probably comes back just a hair into that green space. But if there's a way to preserve some of this, you know, to the degree that it doesn't stop construction,
right?
Because it looks like when you're done, those spaces are still physically accessible.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it's just a question of how much we mess them up, and how we can put them back, and how you want them put back. If you want to put back the way they are, or if there's some adjustments you want to make to it.
And I think that's a question for the Parks Department,
Right.
you know, exactly how that gets put back together, because I know they're looking at redoing the park overall with sprinklers and new trees because of the age of the trees and whatnot. But just as a cause of construction, if we can leave some of those things in place, that would be good. Okay.
Good.
Anyone else?
I'm a little, this makes sense right here, this drive, but I'm a little concerned with how close it is to the park. If there's a playground and having kids and families right here, and then having the big trucks pull around, it seems like it's going right through kind of the middle. Not the middle, but I don't know. I've been concerned about that since it was first presented. It logically it makes sense as to why it's there, but I just feel like it's really close to where people would be, you know, just enjoying their time in the park, especially next to that pavilion. I know there's a little bit of a buffer right there. I don't know. I'm just a little bit concerned about that.
I think we take that concern because it's what we're trying to do there is we're trying to walk a fine line between segregating this driveway that comes in that's only occasionally used versus maybe still allowing it to be used for part of the park function and still have it be safe.
I mean, if there's some fencing that could go around it or something, I don't know. I feel like it's a little, I don't know, unsafe.
Okay. No,
wait, so did I understand that the park area is going to not be in existence during the construction?
Well, I would suggest that about that, maybe, I mean, this could be squeezed back a bit, but generally speaking, there will be a little bit of encroachment into the park during construction.
So, Sid, I'm wondering if that playground area could be moved more north, away from
permanently
away from the driveway.
But even then, you're close to the pavilion right here, where you have, I mean, people just in the pavilion, and just if there's ends up being more green space, I don't know.
And I think the thing that we need to make sure of, and this will all be as we develop the site in more detail, you know, maybe there is a pretty good barrier there that if there are people at the park, kids, you know, little kids aren't going to just wander over there.
There's a planting, fencing, or something that we can do.
But that driveway is just for ingress, right?
primarily, or an emergency egress if somebody were to block that other one. But it's primarily because they wanted that right turn coming back in. Mm-hmm. But I think there's some things that can be done there. Mm-hmm. Which is right about in here.
For construction, yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then permanently, this road would be, I mean, not road, but this, I guess, kind of roadway would be there permanently, correct?
That would be the hope if we can.
I mean, and I'm fine during construction period having that fence. I mean, that makes sense for safety purposes, having the fence run along that, north to south.
Without going into the design details of how I'm envisioning that we'd take care of that, just so you know, there's quite a bit of slope. That pavilion is going to be several feet lower than the other, so we can. I think there's very
that will help with some buffering
very
right
easy
there.
to create a barrier there.
Okay,
there
good.
can be a real step there that you maybe can't get up past. It might be 3 or 4 or 5
and
feet.
I think the kids would love, seeing the big fire. If it's the fire truck coming out or the ambulance, whatnot. Safety is my number one concern for that area right there coming. But it makes sense as to why you'd need that emergency access. So
I will take that into account as we refine this site. I think that's important.
And if I can just clarify, I think this was said, I want to make sure we're all clear. During construction, we've already told the contractor they're going to be able to stage right there where the horseshoe pits are. The playground equipment is probably not going to be accessible during construction. So for the next 12 months, this park will have a limited use during construction. When the construction's over, the intent is to go back and restore, and one of the things we've talked about is the playground and whether that will be the best spot for it moving forward. So moving that does cost money right now. There's not money set aside to do that. So as we are working through these issues, is that what you were asking, Mayor, was what's
my concern is when we're done.
Okay.
One, there's certain uses in there now. One of them appears to have some significance to people in the community as far as who put it in, when they put it in, etc. And the other would be there's been an ongoing desire from parks to redo this park in a way that it's even more accessible and attractive to the community.
Right.
So we don't want to spend money necessarily putting something back that isn't going to be used in a long-term perspective.
Very good. And you're right. We'll tackle that with the Parks Department when we get to that stage.
Okay. Thanks.
Good.
This is looking really good. Things are looking good. Let me just comment. Scott made mention that we've raised about 1.9 million. That's a pretty hard number right now. We've spoken with the individuals that are committing that amount. We need about 600,000 more in order to maintain everything that we've shown today as far as the plan goes. And that will also, if we're able to raise that other 600, that will allow us to stay within all of the commitments that we made during the bond process for the amount of money to be spent from public funds, and also the construction costs associated with this facility. That's very important to a lot of people in our community, and I'm very happy with those that have stepped forward to offer support and help. And so I reach out kind of over the public address system here to tickle the minds of other people that are like-minded to come forward and help us bridge that gap. So Jim, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we have no public hearing items tonight, so we'll move to 10. Or section 11A has been continued indefinitely. Item 11B, to consider for re-adoption ordinance 2017-20 to adjust the boundaries of Pleasant Grove City and Cedar Hill City by annexing a .574 acre parcel designated in the annexation policy plan located at 4087 North Canyon Road. The property will be assigned a general planned use designation of very low density residential and a zoning of RR, and providing for an effective date. Is Dennis here tonight? Dennis Thane?
I don't see him.
Is there any discussion on this item?
I have a question about the prior item, if I may, Mayor. I know this is out of order, but you didn't.
Which
just
prior
11A.
item?
I was just curious why that one has been continued, if we could speak to that.
What it is there's a big document that the Mountain Land Association of Governments has put together, which is this pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan. We're in process of reviewing the plan. It's about 500 pages. I don't know. Kathy actually printed it out, and I think they had to kill a couple trees.
Impressive.
So we're still in the review process
Okay.
of that. It's something that we need to adopt if we're going to apply for federal grants in the future. So
Perfect.
that's where we're at.
Thanks for satisfying my curiosity there.
All right, so are there any questions on item 11B? All right, seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
And I'll make the motion, Mayor, that we re-adopt ordinance 2017-20 to adjust the boundaries of Pleasant Grove City and Cedar Hill City by annexing a 0.574 acre parcel designated in the annexation policy plan located at 4087 North Canyon Road. The property will be assigned a general plan land use designation of very low density residential and a zoning of RR rural residential, and providing for an effective date.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ben and a second by Eric. By voice, Lynn? Yes. Ben?
Yes.
Sid?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Okay, moving to item 11C, to consider for adoption Resolution 2017-040, entering into a lease purchase agreement with Zions Bank for police vehicles, computers, and fitness equipment, and providing for an effective date.
We've been doing these for the last few years. We'll look at doing an equipment lease. We're going out to, I went out to bid to about 6 vendors. We got 2 bids back. Zions Bank came in with a bid for the interest rate of 2.09, and Wells Fargo came in at 2.179. So the proposal is that we go with Zions Bank for a 3-year lease for $410,000. For those dollars, we'll be purchasing $290,000 of police vehicles, 9 Explorers for the patrol officers, and then 5 trucks for the detective and the administration. And along with that, we'll be purchasing some new recreation equipment. I won't read all those. We kind of did a little list. There's $45,000 for the rec center, keeping that in the rotation, and then $75,000 for computers, servers, and switches for our IT technology.
Questions for Denise? Okay, and this is all in the budget?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we adopt Resolution 2017-040, entering into a lease purchase agreement with Zions Bank for police vehicles, computers, and fitness equipment, and providing for an effective date.
Second. Oh, go ahead. Lynn gets it.
I kind of wrote Eric's name.
Oh, sorry, Lynn.
Probably because my left ear's having... Okay. So by voice, Diana?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Sid?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, item 11D, to consider for adoption a resolution 2017-041, authorizing the mayor to declare a 2015 Ford F-150 pickup truck and a 2005 Ford F-150 pickup truck as surplus, and direct that it be disposed of according to the city policy for disposing of surplus property and providing for an effective date.
Mayor and Council, we'd just like to continue the program we started about a year ago with Marty and Denise on replacing these vehicles that become 2 or 3 years old and replacing them with a new vehicle. So this is the next one in line. I'm sure we'll be back a couple more months with the 2016. So.
Okay. And all of these are in your budget?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Dion? Okay.
I have a quick one. Dion, the 2015 Ford, that's a 2-year-old vehicle. What is the difference for us as a city if we hold on to vehicles for 3 years versus 2, or?
It's really about the resale value and the mileage that you have on them. For example, the vehicle that we're surplusing has 10,000 miles on it, and we can get a resale value out of that to where we can purchase a new vehicle for a couple $100 more. So really we're paying for fuel and a couple oil changes throughout the year.
Okay.
They're the 2 years that we have them, so.
Thanks.
The really good thing is the warranty. So that it's all they're just covered. At that point now they're not covered. And so
Yeah, we're not paying for tires, you know, any repairs, anything like that. So it's all under the warranty.
And these are all from the state bid list. Is that how we
Yes.
purchase? Good. Thanks.
It's an excellent question. If anyone's curious on the details of the leasing programs, if you want to stop by Denise's office, we've been doing this for quite a while now, and it's proven to be financially beneficial for the city.
So our vehicle, Mayor and Council, I'll give you a good example of why you should use it. So we have a couple vehicles we've never been able to incorporate into
Mike,
the
Mike,
can I
talk into your mic.
Mike.
Hello.
That's good.
So the one that our 2005 we've never been able to get into the program. It's an animal control truck. It's the one you see going around that has the crane looking thing on the back.
What's that for?
To lift deer and other
Oh, really?
large
To lift-
animals into
Oh,
the back of the truck.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah. If you want to come out, we'll.
Well, I don't want to go that far. I was just wondering what the crane was for.
So
good experience, really.
Yeah, it's a great experience.
That'd probably be interesting to see. Well, no, it wouldn't.
It's
Never
not
mind. Just,
interesting.
I'm not going to go out.
Well, when you figure a deer is like what, 300, 400
yeah.
pounds, it's
Not
useful.
quite that, but yeah. But anyway,
Well, there is one in my neighborhood.
that's that big.
Yes.
All right. So
And the truck?
The truck. This 2005, we've just run it into the ground, and that's really how we used to run our entire fleet, is into the ground to the point where when they were done, and there was no value in that vehicle, and we were expending large amounts of money to keep them going, whether it was engines or transmissions or rear ends. This truck, it needs a complete engine. It's going to be between $7,000 and $8,000 to fix this truck that broke down on us. So we're going to surplus it. We'll just take it to auction and get whatever we can out of it. But that's why it's up.
And so I had a resident asking today, can you explain the process of it going to auction? What does that literally mean? Like, where does it go? How do people bid on it?
We use an auction. Well, it's a private auction. Well, I don't know how they work. I've never went up there to bid, but it's T&T Auctions up in Salt Lake. And I believe most of their clientele, they are dealers. So the dealers come and take these cars, and then you'll see them on some little lot somewhere for sale.
Okay, so it's not like the resident comes down here, tracks the vehicle, they see it on the city council agenda, they want to come down and purchase it. It doesn't work like that.
Send them to TNT.
Yeah, they could. I believe TNT would sell to them. It's just, it makes it a lot cleaner for us to not have to deal with that. And we've done it before. It's just a lot of time and effort on the staff's part to do it, and it works out sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't.
Well, and it helps so that Fox 13 doesn't show up on your door 5 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Any other questions or
I
discussion?
wasn't referring to that. I really had a resident
You
ask.
want to go on the deer pickup run?
I want to do the
I'll
deer
hook
pickup
you up
run.
the next time there's one. I'll say swing up to
Once
Sid's
the
first,
crane
put her on the crane, put her in the car, and then go get.
But for the auction like this, for any vehicle, whether it's police, public works, whatnot, it goes up to the TNT auction up in Salt Lake.
That's what we have been doing.
What
Not all
about
of
But it doesn't
Marty's
have to
shaking his
happen that
head.
way.
No.
We haven't been doing it that way with the new vehicles.
Yeah.
So
So our new vehicles we surplused last year. We put on KSL. We went through the whole process, opened it up to the public, and were able to sell them that way. And so we didn't take them through the auction process. We did it through just the
Okay.
public bidding
So it's just what
process.
your department feels is the best process for you.
If we had a 2005 vehicle that we were doing, we would probably do
Oh,
what
okay.
he's doing. We're doing it on a new vehicle, and we feel that our best value is to just open it up to the public and let them bid on it.
Okay.
Our
I just wanna be
policy, our policy says it has to be a public.
Whether that's here or TNT, whatever it is, it just needs to be open to the public, which
For
it is.
instance, we can't just call our neighbor up and say, "Hey, come by this
Right.
office." It is a public process.
I just want to be able to explain that, so thank you.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I think Sid should make this motion.
I'll make it. I adopt.
Move.
No. Now I'm all flustered over the dang deer thing. Okay.
Move that we adopt.
Consider, not me, just, sorry, the council What? How? Why can I not read this?
I
one?
make a motion.
I make the
There we
motion
go.
that we adopt Resolution 2017-041, authorizing the mayor to declare a 2015 Ford F-150 pickup truck and 2005 Ford F-150 pickup truck as surplus, and direct that they be disposed of according to the city's policy for disposing of surplus property and providing for an effective date.
Second. Oh,
We'll give that one to Lynn. I heard that one. Okay, we have a motion and a second by voice. Diana?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Sid?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Lynn? Yes. Motion carries. All right, item 11E is to consider for adoption Resolution 2017-042, authorizing the mayor to execute an easement in favor of Rocky Mountain Power for an underground right-of-way easement to install, maintain, and repair a 15-foot wide, 120-foot long easement to service the development at 45 South Main and providing for an effective date. Marty?
Mayor, we were approached a number of months ago by Knowlton Construction that's doing the 45 South Main project there on Main Street, adjacent to the library and City Hall property. And they have had to upgrade some of the power to the existing switchgear box. There is one approximately right at the end of this blue line here. There's a switchgear box there in the planter area that provides power to this area. With the new building there, they were not able to provide enough power through that existing box, and they've asked to upgrade to a newer, bigger box. And what they've approached the city to ask if we would grant, well, this is Rocky Mountain Power requiring that they get a new location for the switchgear because they have to maintain the one in service, and that location be slightly to the south of that existing switchgear box. There's a tree there, so it's going to be on the other side of a tree. In order to do that, then they would need to get into the parking lot area there to be able to run the power over to that box. And so we've been working with them on an easement that would protect the city from them just coming in, tearing it up, and not repairing it. Typically, if you give them an easement that is just theirs, they typically can come through and ask that you repair that after they get done. So we went through that and we recommended some wording on that easement. They came back to us and they almost got it right, but there's a little bit of a discrepancy still in what you're seeing before you. What you're seeing is what we recommended. They didn't come back with the exact wording with regards to all of the stipulations that we put in our recommendations. We felt due to timing that it was still worth bringing to the council and recommending that you approve this easement contingent upon them agreeing to the wording that we've recommended, which is essentially indicating that if they come in and want to dig into the city property, that they would have to get a street excavation permit. They would have to not obstruct traffic. We would work with them to make sure that they put it back together in a manner that's suitable for the city. And those are the things that they pretty much committed to do, but there was some little wording that they left out in their revision to our document. So the actual easement size is it's in this area here. That was one of the other discrepancies. They couldn't get the dimensions right. And so we know exactly what they're trying to do. We don't know how they're not communicating with the description. So what you're seeing tonight is an easement that we would like to propose to accept contingent upon them agreeing to the wording that we've recommended, and also for them to upgrade an easement description that is only containing the area of disruption that they need. And we can work with them. We feel adequate to do that without any problems, make sure it's in line before we have the mayor sign any document of that nature. But that's what's being recommended tonight, and we made requests from the developer to quickly do this, and he hasn't been able to respond in the last few days that we've since last, I think, Wednesday is when we sent a response to him. So
But this is separate from the development going on there now.
So
as far
this is only with regards to the existing building that has been built.
Okay.
So
not the new proposed.
Now, I honestly don't know if the switchgear, the new box that they're putting in, I would assume it's going to accommodate
Affect
any
it?
future
Okay.
development that occurs there on the frontage. But that's not the reason they're
Okay.
doing it, is for that. They needed it for this existing building to even come into service.
Marty, there's a map attached to our documentation. The easement description that goes along with this drawing is a 15-foot wide easement from where the bottom of the blue arrow is out to the right towards 100 East.
So this is where we've had some confusion on the description that's in the actual agreement and what they're providing as an exhibit to that document. This is more in line with what the exhibit is showing that they need to do. What they've provided in the actual easement document is not quite as big as this, and so we need to work with them to say, okay, what we do know is it's right there. So if there's an issue with them being right there, then that's the issue. But as far as the size of it, it's going to be anywhere from 15 by 120, like is shown in the document. It could be as small as 10 by 30.
Maybe I should show you this. This red line, is that part of the easement that we're talking about?
No.
So it's going to be 120 foot north-south?
Correct. I agree. This is something that when I talked with Tina, she felt that we should just move forward and make it contingent upon meeting those two requirements. If you don't feel comfortable, we're totally fine coming back and just saying, let's get it right first and bring it back. We are comfortable that we can get it right and we can get the easement right. We know it's going to be right there because we've met with them on site to discuss that. Mm-hmm. So if you're uncomfortable with that, we're fine with continuing this. And
I think the question for me is, usually reading legal descriptions is not my strength. And so I look at the picture depicting what the legal description is, and they don't match.
I've done it, and they do not match.
Right.
You're right.
So which one are we approving, and how do we know that it's what you want to have approved?
Again, tonight it's being approved contingent upon us coming up with the easement description in that vicinity. The exact description is neither one of what they provided or what's in the exhibit. Okay. And that's, that was our first concern. We're kind of moving this forward, just try to get it so that we can move forward and get it finalized and get you to sign it, Mary. You'll see this again before a signature. What they have committed is that it is right there, and that the wording is really close to what we need, but they had a few modifications that Rocky Mountain Power have to make. If they don't agree to those, then we'll just bring it back and redo that. But that was what they wanted to recommend.
All right. Rocky Mountain's always been pretty.
Is there any kind of time urgency, Marty?
They would have liked this a month ago or more. They've really kind of been dragging their feet. We haven't got a lot of response from them. They've asked for this to move forward as soon as possible.
Is there a business being held up or something?
I don't believe they've got their occupancy on the building yet. I don't know if their timeline's a week out or a couple weeks out, but they've indicated they need this in order to finalize access to power to their building.
Seems like they would, if it's that urgent, that they would maybe make the effort to get the language correct.
And again, it's not the developer, it's Rocky Mountain Power.
It's Rocky Mountain.
That's some of the issue there too.
Council, questions, discussion, or a motion?
So question, if we know the location, what would be the concern? Just in the legal language of it?
Yeah, it doesn't describe what we'd be approving.
But if it's conditioned or contingent upon the...
I think it's like signing the mortgage for your home before you know what the home is going to be.
Okay.
But yet, we won't ask you to sign it until it's ready. So this is putting a little faith, I guess, in the staff that we're going to get it right before we hand it to you, Mayor, to sign. But I agree, if you don't feel like they put forth a good effort, that it's worth our time to do this, this is something.
It's really not my call. It's the council's
I
call.
personally think Rocky Mountain we've had good faith in him before, and you guys, I think you guys have come through before, so I'm comfortable.
For me,
long as we
I'd
get
rather
the
just wait. I mean, I'd rather just get it right, and that's just not how, I mean, generally we do business. I think we just get it right the first time, so that's just, I mean, not that I don't have faith in you, Rocky Mountain, but no matter who it is, I just think we should wait until the description is legal and correct.
So do we have a timeline on what that would be?
We
Next
sent
week?
them the final, hey, this doesn't make exact sense. There's a few little edits here, and they didn't respond before tonight.
So if we're talking a week, I'm okay waiting.
Well, we can't take action on a work. What's our next council meeting? That will be a.
It is next Tuesday.
Okay, so we can't take action.
It is
next
council
week.
meeting next week. It's not a work session. Yeah.
Okay. I'm comfortable either way. I mean, I think we can make a motion that had sufficient contingencies to give staff a chance to make it accurate, but I don't see a tremendous need to not continue the item if there's not an urgency. Or it hasn't been articulated that we've got an urgency that a week will.
So we're 1.5 now. Where are we at?
So if we do, if
Either way, I'll support it with
I think the urgency is for the developer in order for them to do their thing. Rocky Mountain Power's the holdup. They're the ones that are slow. And so, you know, for us, we're just trying to make it all work by granting the easement. But the developer's the one saying, well, we need this to get going. So if the council does it contingent, then once it gets all worked out and before it's signed, we don't have to bring it back to a council meeting. To push it 1 week is probably going to be just fine. But if we can't get it done by next Tuesday, then maybe we need to consider doing it by the way that Marty was proposing. So to continue it for a week, I think we'll be fine.
yeah, I'll continue it for.
I'll get a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, that we continue item number 11E, the adoption of a resolution authorizing you to sign a easement in favor of Rocky Mountain Power for 1 week.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ben and a second by Diana, by voice Lynn. Ben? Sid? Eric?
Yes.
Diana?
Yep.
Unanimous. This item's continued. Okay. With that, we're going to move on to items for discussion. Item 12A is a discussion and possible action regarding the 2017 municipal election candidate meet and greet.
So I'll get it started, then I'll turn it over to you, Sid.
Mm-hmm.
Every election season, there's times for our community to get to know who our candidates are and find out a little bit more about them. In the past, there have been meet and greets, which I think is essentially an open house, and candidates are at a table and people can come and talk to them about the issues or whatever. In the past, the city has not organized those. We've provided the space, which has usually been at the library for free of charge for whoever's organized it. And it's been a citizen at large that has done the organizing, informed the candidates, put out the advertising, did all that stuff. So to my understanding, we don't have anybody that stepped up to do a meet and greet so far this year, and we have a request from Councilmember Lamone to do that.
Let me add some color to that. There has been a citizen at large. Well, there's a organization, the Chamber of Commerce, has volunteered to host a meet and greet and a debate, and so one before the primary, and I believe they're anticipating doing one or two before the general election. And so I don't think there's a void that some may have thought there was in this particular arena.
Well, at this point, I'm going to kick it back to you to decide. And as staff, and I've already explained this to the council, I just get a little nervous when staff is doing the organizing of an event like that, because if anything goes wrong or something, I don't want the staff to be accused of being a detriment to somebody's campaign. So for the city to provide the space free of charge, once a date gets set, and for us to advertise that, that's not a problem on our end. That's just, and I'm probably hypersensitive about this stuff. There are cities, I'm sure, that probably organize this stuff and do that. So we're willing to do whatever the city council directs us to do when it comes to that.
Okay, so I don't know what's happened. Well, I do know what's happened in the past because I've been involved. I was always under the impression that it was the city hosting, because what happened is we put in the candidate information mailer that went out to the candidate or to the residents that there was going to be a meet and greet at the library, and we provided a table and space. That was the extent of our involvement. But we did advertise for that, and it was in the candidate mailer.
Correct. So we did advertise for it, and it was, but somebody else did the organizing as far as setting the date, the time, the venue.
And that's why I don't know who it is, because it was never specified that there was a specific host in that candidate. That's why I assumed it was a city, because there was no one identified. But regardless, I do think it's our obligation and duty to make sure people are informed about the candidates. We have open houses for every other issue in the city, public safety, roads. This is probably the most important, more important than those, because these are the officials that are going to be voting on those issues that affect their families. To the extent of our involvement, I do not think it should be a debate. I think it should be like we've done in years past, where we provide a space and a table and leave it at that. But we do send that out in the candidate mailer, so the residents have an opportunity to come out and learn who the candidates are. I think because of the number of council candidates this year, it should be moved to the new rec center in one of the gyms. But I do think we have an obligation, as we do with other issues in the city, to make sure people are informed. The Chamber of Commerce is a different event to me, because it's a debate. This is simply just a meet and greet night, and it's been held every election, at least since I've been in office, which is not just ones I've been involved with, but the ones in between. I mean, so multiple elections. But if no one has stepped up yet, and I think we should provide multiple nights, maybe people can attend the debate that's hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. I don't think it's going to hurt to have multiple nights that people can come out and meet the candidates. So to the level of our involvement, an invitation for residents to come out, which is in the candidate mailer. I don't know if there's a specific name for that. I'm just calling it candidate mailer. But a table and space. And beyond that, we don't host a debate. We're not in the middle. We're not moderating. We just give an opportunity for residents to come and meet who their future representatives could be. That's what I'm looking for.
I think we can make this easy. We asked Josh with the chamber to host the meet and greet we provide the venue. Yep. Because there's such a large number of candidates, that we provide the venue and we open it up for them. I think that's simple.
But going back to the meet and greet, this was always two separate events. There was a meet and greet at the library in the basement, and then there was a debate, which included a meet and greet before the debate. I guess I want to see multiple dates, because not everyone can make it to just one date. And this is an important issue. I just don't see why it would hurt to open up the space for another time and let the Chamber of Commerce host their own event on their own terms, location, let them do the arranging. And then the city hosts, like we have again, I don't know if it was us, because I never saw a name on the candidate mailer. I just saw meet and greet at the library at these times.
Yeah, so let me give you an example. So 2 years ago, we had a resident that organized it, called us, got the space set aside. They picked the date, they picked the time, and then they called us, and we put it on the candidate information that went out to everybody. So it came from the city as far as the information was concerned, but the organization of the event was not city staff. So that to me is the nuance.
So if we had maybe a private citizen not involved as a employee of the city, volunteer to host a meet and greet, that would meet the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish here.
That's how it's been done in the past. I guess that's all I'm saying. Okay. And if we don't have a citizen volunteer stepping up, and the council wants staff to organize it, that's what we're.
Have a citizen volunteer, right here.
I think if you wear strawberries on your hat, then
you're an automatic volunteer. Will you talk with Kathy tomorrow? We got to send out the information things like right away. So
I mean, and that's great, and thank you. I just want to make sure that we're advertising for that in the mailer that goes out, so every resident has the opportunity to attend.
Yes, and that's our intent.
And that's the same with if there's a Chamber of Commerce event. I want to make sure that's in there as well, so residents know all the events between now and the primary election date, that they can come out and meet the candidates.
So I'll have Kathy get a hold of the chamber, make sure that we have that date on there.
And then the Tamara Oborn event.
Thank you, Tamara. Get a hold of Tamara.
We don't need to know what the date is, yeah.
We can work, Kathy can work with you on logistics, but.
Yeah.
Oh, please, election
judge.
Election judge. Election officer for the city.
We need to know like what date, because I need to get it to the printer like tomorrow.
Okay.
July 20th, I've already talked to the Rec Center. They have opening, library has a place that we can do it there.
On July 20th?
The ballots come out July 25th because we're doing vote by mail. So you have like...
Between now and then.
So, Tamara?
I think if she just meets with Kathy tomorrow, we can get all the logistics worked out.
Yeah.
I think we, or after the meeting. Yep. We can get that taken care of.
Well,
That's
Yeah.
look what happened to him.
No eye contact.
That's all right.
All right.
Sleep is helpful.
So let's go ahead and move on to 12B. Discussion and direction on surplusing items in the old rec center.
Yes, as we've been working on the process of having the buildings being torn down, we do know that there might be some items in the old rec center that have interest to the public. So there's sort of 2 or 3 things going on that we're working through. Number one is the brick. We know that there are some citizens that are interested in obtaining brick, and I would say 1 brick, so not for construction purposes, but for sentimental value, that there's an interest for the public to be able to access and get a hold of brick. As we are working with the contractor to have this torn down, we are going to set aside 2,000 was our number. If that's not enough, we'll do 3,000. We're going to take 3,000 brick. We're going to take them down to the pipe plant. We'll figure out the methodology to distribute that to the general public for those that are interested. And we will also save some of that brick for whatever we're doing on the interior of the new building. So that's the brick. We want to make sure that everybody understands that they will have an opportunity to get access to brick. Now, whether we're giving it away, whether we're selling it, all that stuff, that hasn't been determined yet.
But that's at a later date.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want everybody to be rest assured we are planning on setting it aside. We have contractors, other people that are interested in obtaining brick for other purposes. So these are people that want a couple thousand brick so that they can put a new facade on some building that they own that has a little bit of a historical flavor to it. At this point, when we get the contractor on board, those people can talk specifically with the contractor and work out an arrangement for the contractor to set aside brick for them. Because when we do it, there's an additional cost to the city. If it's brick that we're not going to use and somebody else wants, we're just going to recommend you meet with the contractor whenever we decide who it is, and you can make a special arrangement with them on the brick, because there's probably going to be about 1 day where the building's going to be knocked over. If they want to bring a dump truck up and the contractor can load brick into their dump truck, they can make all those arrangements with the contractor.
Are you talking just a contractor outside of the city?
Just anybody. We've had residents that are, I got an email the other day, somebody that wants to, they're redoing their home and they would like, I think they requested 500 brick.
And is that going to happen before or after the brick is dispersed to or bidded on or whatever it is to the residents?
So the residents, we're just going to take that, put it in a truck, take it out to the pipe plant, and then it's totally separate from everything else we're doing at the building.
I mean, I just want to make sure that we don't know what the response is going to be on the brick at the pipe plant.
Not to run out of brick?
That's right.
Okay, so we'll make sure that.
Because I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Yes.
So I'd hate to have people come up with dump trucks and haul it away, and there's people who haven't gotten the opportunity to take one.
Yes.
You know, so I just want to make sure that.
Okay, we'll make sure the numbers are there, because we've talked about, Dion and I picked 2,000 out of. In a way. I mean, you know, how many brick are people going to want? We don't know, but the intent is 1 brick per person.
It could be 100 people show up. It could be 10,000. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know that either. We're not assuming it's going to be 10,000, but there is a cost for us to do that. So we're trying to.
I think there's probably a lot more brick there than you realize. My understanding, the exterior walls are 4 bricks thick. Wide.
We confirmed there's at least 3.
Wow.
3. So there's a lot of brick.
3 times as much brick there as you see.
So yes, spatially, I'm having a hard time with what 2,000 bricks looks like. Is that like a
wall,
a side? And I'm also concerned about the price of demolition with the. is this costing us more money to do this?
So for us to set aside the 2,000 brick, there is a little bit of an additional cost, but it's
So
not.
a little bit as
I don't know. We don't know until we bid it.
Okay.
The contractors are telling us there is, because otherwise they just knock it all down, they put it in trucks, they don't separate it, and it just goes. So if my understanding is at this point they have to kind of grab some of the brick out and load it into a truck, and it will be mixed with a bunch of other stuff, and we'll have to separate it. But there is an additional cost because the easy thing for them to do is just knock everything into the middle and pile it up and take it away. So we don't know exactly how much more, but in my opinion, it makes sense for us to set aside and pay a little bit extra for that. It's not $100,000 extra. It's maybe a couple thousand. I don't know.
All right.
So it's not going to break the budget, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm just checking.
So that's the exterior. The interior of the building, if you walk through it now, we've removed everything that the city, or we're in the process of removing things that have either a sentimental value or a cash value to us. So there was some fairly new heating system stuff in there. We have the old scoreboard, and there's a sign that we want to keep for sentimental value. So we are in process of the city taking those things out. What is going to be left, we're opening up to the public to come in this Saturday and bid on whatever items they would want. So people are going to be bidding for two different purposes. One, I think, is there's a cash value to, I don't think there's a cash value too much in there, but we do have like a glass backboard and a rim, and if somebody wants that, they can bid on that item.
Scott, I think there's some lovely curtains in there too.
Is there some lovely curtains?
No.
Blue. That's the sentimental value. There's things in there I think that people have a sentimental value that they're willing to pay a little bit of money in order to get, but also with the understanding that if we have 2 or 3 people that want the same item, we have to figure out a fair way to say who gets it, and the fairest way we can figure out is just to do a bid on those items. So it's not necessarily a big fundraiser for us. I don't think it's going to generate a ton of cash. It's really a way for the public to have an opportunity to come and obtain something that they would like out of that building. So the idea is that we would do the bidding on Saturday, we would award the bids, and then we give them just a few days to come and take it out. By the end of July, we would like everything that's going to be removed by the public out of that building so that we can get the contractor in there. They're going to walk through it. If there's salvage value for them, then they give us a credit for that, and then they give us a bid and say, okay, it's going to cost X thousands of dollars for us to tear this down and haul it off. So tearing it down is the easy part. I think it's about a month, they said, that they think to haul all that off, because we're doing 4 buildings. I mean, this one, fire, old rec, and the old seminary building. I think one of the concerns is, are we giving the public enough time to respond? We have put this out on social media. We've informed the Historic Commission. I think we've hit the key people that we think would be interested in some of the interior of that. If anything that we choose to extend that at this point would extend when we can tear the building down. We are doing our darndest to have it be right around mid-August. So again, depending on the timing of the contractor and when they can come in, that might push back a little bit, but that's what we're working towards. We've got homes now for our community development and our fire station as of August 1st. And there will be some time that we need to clear these buildings out with some of the stuff that we have. So that's the intent. The reason it's on the agenda is there was a feeling that maybe that the public has not had enough time to respond to our timeline. So if the council would like to give direction other than what I've explained, we're open to what you would like to do.
So we put it out on Constant Contact.
Yes, it's gone out on all of our social media.
And it's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the front page of the website.
Libby, can you notify the neighborhood chairs?
And you can just point them to the website, Libby.
And
Facebook,
Instagram, everything. Okay.
So, I mean.
So is there any further questions for Scott or discussion on this?
Are we okay on that timeline? That's all.
I think we're okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Scott.
We will proceed.
Okay, I've got item 12C. This is discussion and direction regarding city's participation in a spotlight piece on national television. I was contacted yesterday by a TV firm. They produce a program called Cities to Consider for Life, Business and Recreation. They got a hold of Pleasant Grove's name, probably because we've been in the media in the last few months for several different things. One of the safest cities to live in America.
The flag. Strawberry Days.
The flag.
Strawberry
Days. And a host of other things. What they're interested in doing is coming in and doing a 3-minute spotlight on Pleasant Grove City and what makes us tick, what makes us good for business, what makes it good for people to live, what about our recreation amenities, what about our transportation, business, etc., the growth of the city, just a whole bunch of different topics. And after the brief interview, they said they were very interested in moving forward. I've tentatively scheduled a follow-up interview with them on the 19th. We have a meeting on the 18th. If there would be a fee associated with this production, it would be about $25,000 if I remember correctly. I think it was 24 and something. We would have the rights to all of the raw footage when we're done, the finished spot, and a 30-second commercial, if you will, that we could use on our own social media to promote the city in our own economic development, etc. If this is something that the council is interested in exploring further, what I'd like to do is assign someone to research this organization and make sure they're legitimate, read through the information they've provided to make sure that it's, we're not getting ourselves into any hot water, and then present all of this next week, Tuesday, for action by the council. So there it is in a nutshell. You have any questions?
The 25,000, where would it be shown?
33 times a day on Fox News Network and affiliate stations across the United States. Kind of caught my attention. I mean, if you wanted a cheesecake factory, this would be the time to promote for it. I think we would probably reach out to beyond the city resources for financial funding, because there's a lot of people that stand to gain from this kind of exposure. But again, it's up to the council. If this is something you'd like to explore, then we'll assign someone to take this and run with it and check out all of the legal aspects of it to make sure we're legit, present it formally next week, and vote on it, and then depending on what happens, follow up with the interview on Wednesday. The interview is not the 30-second spot or the 3-minute. That's just to get started. There'd be an extended period, I think it's like 90 days, where they do script writing and research and come out and visit, and then there's multiple shootings, et cetera. We provide a lot of material, a lot more detail than
Do they know?
Chamber could be involved. Yeah.
That's cool. Do they know about the Sandlot?
Was that filmed in Pleasant Grove?
No, but we have a
I
movie
don't
star
think
that
so.
could.
No, but
Okay, next.
but
All right. So, what would you like to do? Would you like to explore
I think we
this,
should
or should we
explore it.
drop
It's not going to hurt to explore it. I mean, like you said, it might be a great economic development tool.
It could be.
Let's look at it. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, well, we can research it as staff and bring it back next week and see what you think. We'll
Okay.
get a little more detail.
Council, Diana,
Yes.
Eric,
Mhm.
Lynn, Ben.
Yeah, I'm up for researching it. It might be smart to look into and speak to some of the stakeholders in the city that might be willing to contribute to help cover that cost.
Okay. Scott, do you want to assign someone from staff? And I'd like to ask Eric if he wouldn't mind helping us out from a council standpoint to take this project.
It'll be me or David Larson, I think, would be the
Okay.
two that would make the most sense. So it may be both of us. I've been part of these things a little bit in the past, so
Okay.
I think we know what to ask and
Thank you.
where we're headed.
You all right? All right, so we'll move that on to next week's agenda. Thank you. Okay, let's look at the 18th agenda. So we just did item 6, right? On the agenda tonight. Daniel Cardenas.
All right.
That's okay. Just wondering. Okay. That's fine. So that'll renumber things a little. The current numbering, 10A, we have a public hearing to consider for adoption an ordinance to rezone approximately 0.67 acres from CS commercial sales to R18 single family residential zone, property located 560 South 300 East, and providing for an effective date. I think this is the one that we have discussed before. It came in as a rezone from residential to commercial when someone was going to put a rehab facility there, and then when that did not go through, someone else acquired the land and advertised it as they could put a car lot there. And now it's coming back and we want to put it back into residential. Is that correct?
I think that's exactly right,
Correct.
Daniel.
Yes, Mayor. That's
Okay.
correct.
Any questions on that?
That was at the request of the city council, so the city is the applicant on it.
Okay. All right, 10B, public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance amending City Code Section 10-19-7E, miscellaneous signs, electronic messaging signs. The applicant is proposing to include electronic message signs to be permitted as part of wall sign in commercial zones, industrial zones, in the case of residential zones for schools only, and providing for an effective date. And this is Allied Electric sign. Someone here from Allied? No?
Daniel can explain.
Anything we should?
No, this is something that we are already doing. I don't know if you guys have seen I field trip the elementary schools, and we already have electronic messages on wall signs. Now our code doesn't allow for that, so we're amending it to get caught up with that.
And it would broaden it to commercial zones as well.
Correct. So right now, electronic signs are allowed for freestanding signs, otherwise called pole signs, and also for the type of signs that are attached to the ground, landscape signs, monument signs, but not for wall signs. So we will get caught up with that.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions? All right, 10C, public hearing to consider for adoption ordinance amending the city code regarding the regulation of accessory structures. The amendments will provide guidelines for the establishment of metal shipping containers in the RR zone. Self-explanatory?
Correct.
55-foot ocean carrier type, right? Painted camo.
There you go.
Okay.
But it is specific to residential, not commercial areas.
And it looks like R1 and RM7.
All the residential zones.
Okay. So that's something we ought to think about a little bit, if it's all residential zones. Okay. 10D, public hearing to consider for adoption an ordinance amending City Code 11-12, Article A, Business and Manufacturing Park Zone, BMP, by revising and reorganizing the provisions regarding permitted and conditional uses, as well as various zoning requirements, and providing for an effective date.
Correct. So this is the zone that is kind of the buffer between our manufacturing zone and the I like to call it the jewel in the crown of Pleasant Grove, which is the Grove, right? So we have in the middle that buffer zone. That zone is the property owners that own land in there is only 4 of them. So it's large amounts of land. When the city planned for the BMP, we planned for business park type of amenities, correct? So setbacks are, for example, 50 feet. If we try to apply the requirements for the BMP to the lots existing right now, it will be close to impossible to develop those, okay? So the developer gave me a list of proposed change. The staff read it, went through it. We have multiple meetings with the applicant, and the staff is coming up with the version of what I think is the best for the city. So what's going to happen is I'm going to present the version of which is not, it doesn't fall apart from each other very far. So just a couple of things, for example, and just to give you an idea, a developer wants 0 setbacks. The staff is recommended 25 feet setback. So it's a couple of elements where there's some discrepancies. But definitely staff thinks that some amendments should be taken into consideration.
So are you going to propose the amended version, the one the staff is proposing, or are we going to have the one that Preston Davies is proposing?
I'm going to present both,
okay.
Which I say that there's not many discrepancies, only a couple of I would say, 2 technical points that are important, though, but we'll bring them to you guys. So I'm going to present both and let the council decide.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, section 11, action items ready for vote. 11A, jury hotel memorandum of understanding. Scott?
We will, this is part of our executive session tonight.
Okay.
Some of the elements of this impact other things, so we'll talk a little bit more in depth tonight.
Okay. All right, 11B, to consider for adoption a resolution declaring the items in the old rec as surplus. 11C, to consider for adoption a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign Beers House lease agreement.
Beers House.
It's the old Beers
Oh, there you go. Sorry. From here it's Bees. Beers House lease agreement to house community development while the public safety building is being built. And we'll talk about the finances and everything at that time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Nothing else on the agenda. And that's the only other meeting we have in the month of July? Or do we have one?
No, we have
24th?
July 18th.
This is the 18th.
Yeah, so that's the last meeting in July.
Okay.
And just so you're aware, August 1st, we'll have a council meeting. August 8th will be a work session. Depending on a particular development that's trying to fast track a project, we might need to take some action, but it will be considered a work session. And then we will not have a meeting on the 15th due to the primary election, and we'll meet again on the 22nd with a council meeting. That's for August.
All right. Libby, anything? Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Daniel, anything from you?
No, sir.
Okay. David?
Yeah, a couple things. We are 1 month from yesterday away from the replacement event for the promenade called the Pleasant Grove Summerbration. And it'll happen in Downtown Park on Thursday, August 10th. So the volunteer that came forward a few weeks ago has been busily working and preparing and has already gotten in touch with live bands.
About 50 vendors right now so far.
With
that's
lots
great.
of vendors, high quality, local, handmade kinds of vendors, and food trucks, food, all types of things. So it's going to be a really fun night, starting at 5 p.m., going until dark.
And that's a one-time event this year?
One-time event this year. If it goes well, then we'll look at repeating it next year, maybe a few different times.
Okay.
Not to the extent of the promenade every week, but something where we can do that maybe once a month or something like that. But,
okay.
Put that on your calendar, August 10th. Also be aware for the mayor and council, the Chamber of Commerce annual thank you barbecue. You'll probably get an email about that as well, but that has been moved from this Friday to the 21st, lunchtime on Friday the 21st.
Is that this month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else, David?
The date of the chamber-hosted debate is July 26th in the evening. So all the candidates have been notified about that, received correspondence about it, but that will start to be published from the chamber perspective and advertised very soon.
Okay. Thank you. Jan? Nothing? Marty?
A number of things. Is this on?
Yes.
So tomorrow night from 6 to 7:30, there's a public open house for the First East reconstruction project. This is hosted by Utah County and PEC, who's the engineers for that project. They're going to just have some information there about the proposed reconstruction areas, what's going to be done, and we've been working with them every other week for the last couple of months to try to make sure we're involved in that, and I think it's going very well. So
That's
just
where? The junior high.
PG Junior High. What's that? Is that what you asked? And so also we've had a few issues up at the Battle Creek drainage. Last Sunday night we had a pretty good thunderstorm, went over that drainage, and if you remember a number of years ago we had quite a big thunderstorm that came through there that really washed out a lot of areas and brought a lot of material down. Well, this thunderstorm also continued to do that, and we filled up some of the areas where we pull water. Nothing to do with culinary, all to do with secondary water, where we bring the water into the system. It's kind of filled full of rocks. And so we've been up there for the last day and a half cleaning that out and trying to get it operational again. I just got word from Greg that that's all been cleaned all the way down to the filters. Tomorrow we'll break apart those filters and get that back operational again. For the time being, we've been feeding that zone with the pumps that's set up there at the Walker Tank site. So the pressures have probably been lower, and if we get a high demand, those pressures will drop a little bit. But that's how we're currently feeding that zone, and we need to get this filter station. So if there's been concerns with the citizens about that upper zone, that's why. We currently have some plans in place. We've got new filters going in before that filter station that will be going in here in the next month that will help with this situation. With one of the screens that constantly gets plugged, we'll be able to do that with an automatic flush filter that's going to help us, I think, operate a lot more efficiently up in that area. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention as well. All of our projects, a lot of things are torn up. We've got Orchard Drive and Loader Avenue taken care of. We've got Blackhawk is getting ready to just pour the manhole valve boxes and collars, being raised to grade. Got some striping done on Orchard today, so that's back and operational. The school striping's in. We've got 700 South project is tore up from 910 West all the way to Geneva Road, Main Street, and that will be there for the next 4 months until we get that road reconstructed. 900 South is continuing forward. They've got the sewer line halfway up the road, so they've made some progress on that pipe bursting project, and that will be going on still for the rest of the summer. We've still got to get the water line done, still got to get the street contractor done in there and reconstruct that whole road. So there is a lot going on. We do have our construction website or construction updates page open. If anybody has any questions about those, they can go there and select that. It should give the most recent update information. They can also sign on to receive updates, and they'll get an email with every week an update to those projects. So that's on the slider page of the city homepage, so they can slide across and select that. So a lot of things moving right now, along with all of the development work going on. So it's a busy time.
So Marty, will anyone officially from the city be at the open house tomorrow? Like to
I
answer
will be
questions?
there.
You will?
I'd assume some others would
Okay.
come. But.
Thank you.
Anything else, Marty?
That's it.
Thank you. You've got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens when we fully fund roads.
Wait.
Job security.
Chief Dave?
Two very simple things. One, I would like to encourage the public to be vigilant as they hike our canyons, especially for those who like to bushwhack and go off the trail. We had a rattlesnake bite last night.
Oh.
And even though it was a young snake, it's still envenomated. What we find is usually the younger snakes tend to envenomate more often than the older snakes. But they're out in force, the rattlesnakes are. And matter of fact, we're seeing them in several of the different fire departments have already reported snake bites. So
Can
they
you
need
say
to watch
where
for
that
those.
was?
It was up Battle Creek.
Like hiking up the waterfall?
Yeah, and I think it was just somebody that left the trail, turned over a rock, and took one on the finger.
Oh.
So anyway, I just encourage everyone to be vigilant up there. The next thing is I want to... I would like to especially thank the mayor for kicking off our fireworks on the 4th. This was his last year at lighting that first little volley, and I hope that it's been fun for you
Oh yeah,
for the last
it's
several
been
years.
great.
So it's really
One
kind
of the
fun.
things I'll miss.
So we're going to do the same thing next year. I'm gonna tidy up just a couple of things, but the show should be just as good. And although I've had some citizens talk to us about maybe trying to move the venue, I really like it at Discovery Park. It is a pain to get in and out of. It just requires a little patience to wait for traffic and stuff. But as far as it being a really good venue for viewing and being able to get some really fun fireworks in there, it works really well for us, I think. So I hope to kind of continue that. Thanks.
Thank you. Chief Mike?
Yeah, just a quick update on our zone enforcement or our code enforcement officer. with that entry-level position, we don't want to give it to an entry-level person. What we find is people getting into law enforcement want to be police officers, and so putting a brand new guy into that position, they're always trying to get out of that position, right, to do police work. So we have seasoned officers who are interested in the position. So we've opened it up internal to a seasoned officer who we haven't appointed yet. We've got some interests, letters of interest in, and then we'll hire a new police officer to fill that position. So just to keep you up with what we're doing, we'll have that filled probably in the next week. But even at that, there's going to be a little lag time getting, because we don't have really any slush in the department. So we'll have to train a new officer, and so our new code enforcement officer will still have their duties that they're currently assigned while we're going through that process of getting a new officer in place. So it's coming along. We'll start kicking them zone enforcement details so they can start doing it, but you won't see the full strength of that position for a month at least.
But you'll announce who that is in the next week, 2 weeks, or?
Yeah, we have it narrowed down to a couple officers. We're doing some interviews tomorrow, and then we'll have it decided tomorrow.
I just have a list a mile long, so I just need to know name and number, contact information.
I think their number will be unlisted.
For me specifically.
Anything else, Chief?
No, thank you.
Okay. Sherry, you have a different face tonight.
Yes, I am Andrea. So, nothing from us.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming.
it. Denise?
No.
Scott?
Just a couple calendaring items. We have the Quick Quack car wash ribbon cutting, which is next Tuesday at 11:30. We also have
Lunch and car washes.
Is that what it is? Lunch?
It's
Is
a
that by
lunch at
invitation?
11:30. There's free car washes for the public. If they want to donate, it'll go towards the child that was run over, I think, by the lawnmower.
Yes,
is that
that's right.
correct? And try to help defer some of the costs of their medical bills.
That's fantastic. We also, the Grove Tower, and this is by invitation only, but they're doing their ribbon cutting on August 1st. I believe the governor will be attending that event, just so the council has that on your calendar. And then also August 7th is the city picnic and swim party. So that will be at 6 o'clock at the downtown, or not the downtown, Veterans Memorial Park.
That sounds good,
All I
Scott.
got.
Thank you. Kathy? Okay. You want to pass it? Diana?
Yes. A couple of things. The flag was magical. Every single event, every moment of it, the photos are phenomenal, but it was magical. I especially, for me and my family, the Sunday night with the One Voice Children's Choir. It was just, I don't even know another word, magical. Anyway, very, very grateful for everybody that worked on that. A couple of things. There's a rumor, I've had several people ask me, there's a rumor going around, and maybe Marty can help explain this, that Pleasant Grove is sending the treated sewer water from TSSD back up and we're using that as culinary. So would you like to speak to that?
We'd all be dead.
Not true. I'll help. Not true.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't.
So I would love that rumor to be dispelled very, very quickly. Okay?
And no intent to do that in the future either.
Put an end to that rumor.
Thank you. I needed to do that publicly because it is going like wildfire right now.
Okay.
Also, did you know that the Beers Hotel is haunted?
Okay, and moving right
not-
along.
Well, I would
Eric.
I'll staff that. They have to work there.
No, that is from people that have worked there. Anyway, that's fun.
Thank you so much for that enlightening discussion. Eric. Eric.
I'm not sure if I can top that, but the flag thing was amazing. We had family that heard about it and came from out of town for it, and here they are calling me saying, "Hey, we're coming for it," and I'm like, "Wow, okay." It is tremendous for our community. We already talked about art, and the Choosing Kindness for Pleasant Grove is moving forward rapidly because I think we chose September 21st as the day that we'll have the kickoff at the high school as an assembly. And Jimmer will be in attendance for that. So we're moving forward. More details to come very soon.
That's excellent. Thank you. Sid?
Thank you for the flag. Thank you for the fireworks. Thank you for letting me live in the best city ever. A resident had a hashtag, "My city's better than yours." Just saying.
Okay.
We'll leave
Anything
it at
else?
that. Nope.
Okay. Lynn? Okay. Ben?
Let me take a second to invite everybody that's available this Thursday to come to the Rotary Club. If you care about law enforcement issues, we're having a speaker from the Other Side Academy. They came recently and spoke with a luncheon hosted by honorary colonels. It was fantastic. One of the best presentations I've ever heard. Very inspiring. Definitely worth your time. If you're free on Thursday at noon, come to Chubby's here in Pleasant Grove and listen to the Other Side Academy speakers talk a little bit about what that organization does for reducing recidivism of criminals. It's an incredible organization. Worth your time if you can make it.
Great. Anything else, Ben?
Nope, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Just on a closing note, it's pretty easy to brag about Pleasant Grove as a mayor when you have the kind of volunteerism that's going on right now. Not taking credit for anything, just being able to tell people this is what the citizens do for the community.
Amen.
It's incredible. And that's something I'm going to miss. My dear sweet wife decided to combine family reunions, vacations, and weddings all at the same time this year, so I probably won't see any of you for the rest of the month, or most of next month. Okay, we have a plat to sign, calendar-wise. I think we've covered most of the calendar items. Pioneer Day, the 24th. Did we?
City Hall will be closed on the 24th.
Okay. All right. And now we need to move into an executive session to discuss pending or reasonably imminent litigation.
I make the motion that we exit into executive session as read by the mayor.
Second.
Ben, we'll give that one to Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And if we take any action, you're welcome to hang around when we come out.